We cannot resolve trauma. We cannot resolve trauma because trauma happened. We lived it. So what we can definitely resolve are the wounds that this trauma created, the impact that this trauma created in your life. We are going through the session to unveil other emotions, maybe at the origin of what they want to resolve or created by the emotion that they want to resolve. We'll be resolving as many emotions in an hour as we can.
Welcome to the How to Heart Show, helping men reconnect to the heart and empower others as the leaders they were born to be. I'm Vincent Hazenboom. The world needs the raw and authentic men right now. Join us if you're ready to make a change. Hey, what's up, Lions, and welcome to the How to Heart Show. Emotions. Emotions, when I talk about emotions, it's really difficult because understanding my own emotions, like I'm an empath and highly sensitive, for me is really difficult to understand my emotions and what's going on, especially when I found out that it's not always mine, my emotions. But it's really, really fascinating to have a more depth conversation about this topic because also I can learn more about it. So I brought a really cool expert, Cedric Bertelli, and he can explain better what he does, but what he does is really, really cool. And yeah, I think it's better for Cedric to explain himself, what he does. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this episode because I had a pre-call with him and the things that he told me was really, really awesome. So I'm super excited and really glad that Cedric took the time to be here. So Cedric, thank you so much to be on the show.
Well, Vincent, thank you for having me, and I'm also looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. So, Cedric, can you explain in a nutshell who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So my name is Cedric Bertelli. I am originally from France. I live in the USA. I've been living in the USA for over 20 years now. And myself and some colleagues, as Dr. Jacques Fumex from France, for example, developed a methodology that we called emotional resolution, or EmRes. In 2019, we created the Emotional Health Institute that is created to better the emotional resolution process, share the emotional resolution process, and support people to resolve their debilitating emotional pattern. So we do a couple of things. The first one is we're working with people dealing with emotional difficulties, debilitating emotional patterns, and we help them to resolve them. And we also train therapists, teachers, physicians to use emotional resolution so they can support their client, their patients, or their community. In a nutshell, that's what I do.
That's really, really awesome because when you also mentioned about the traumas and the emotions, how it is really connected to each other, it was really, mind-blowing how you explain it. So what made you interested in this topic and what was your journey on understanding the emotions?
I think there is no coincidences, right? If I went into this line of work, it's because myself, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety very early on as a young boy, a young man, and even up until my, I would say, late 20s. A lot of anxiety, a lot of anger, self-directed anger. And I was doing whatever I could then to feel better. I was going for therapy, doing workshops, etc. But I've learned to control my emotions a great deal, but the emotions were still very much active in me. And so I was doing, this is a second career for me. The first career was working in hotels and restaurants. I was working for the Ritz-Carlton company. In 2009, I felt like it was time for me to change. I wanted to find a way to feel better, to understand better what emotions were, and to see how one could resolve debilitating emotional pattern instead of controlling. Because you see, when you control an emotion, it stresses you twice, right? First, you're in pain because of the emotion that you are undergoing, the anxiety, the anger, and then you control this emotion, which create ever more stress in you, so people don't see it around you. So I guess to answer your question, I went into this line of work first of all to help myself, because I wanted to be, better, more comfortable in my skin, and then when I found that one could resolve debilitating emotional pattern, it became clear that, I wanted to share that with others.
Yeah, and for me, if I can add it, for me it was really difficult to understand my emotions, like I said, but it's also because I'm an empath. When I realized that I'm an empath and the emotions that I felt wasn't always mine, I always felt, oh, so that's why, because I can feel it. And sometimes when I was talking to somebody and then I walked away, I was really angry. And I didn't know why, that is happening. So that was so strange. But once I understand that I'm highly sensitive and an empath, then everything made more sense. Is it also for you that you're an empath and highly sensitive, or?
I think I was. I don't want to say that I'm not an empath anymore. I don't consider myself as an empath anymore, because what I like to say is, for me, there's two things. Right? There's being an empath, which is being impacted in your flesh by others' emotion, and that's painful, and in a way, it's toxic. It toxifies your life. And then there is what maybe we can call compassion, which is sensing the pain of the people around us, but not being affected in our flesh. What I found is the more I resolve the emotion that I was feeling, even if they were not mine, right? If I feel something, somebody is vibrating to a certain emotion, and it actually impacts me in my flesh, in my being, somehow it's because whatever is happening here is resonating with something that is in me as well, something subconscious. And so what I've been really applying myself to for many years, way less now, pretty much never now anymore, is like, because I don't suffer from it anymore, so to speak, suffer, right? When something vibrates, even if it's not mine, even if I recognize it as somebody else's emotion, I'm gonna do an emotional resolution on myself. Because whatever is going on in front of me or in that room, it goes and resonates with something inside of me. So I'm gonna resolve whatever I have power over, which is the way I feel inside of me.
Yeah, you made something really interesting that I want to touch on, but what I remembered about what you said was, I just said to myself, what I'm feeling is not mine. And then I let it go. I told myself, like, what I feel right now, it's not mine, and we'll let it go. And I actually felt it just move away. Mm-hmm. And it was so weird. I wasn't even attached to it. And I feel like a lot of people attach to what they feel. So they say, I'm so angry today, but how do they know they are angry? So they make it them own. They own it. Instead of say, okay, this is not mine, and it can go. And once I did that more and more and more, I felt better, because sometimes I felt the entire world is on my shoulders, and I felt drained and exhausted, and I was like, man, this is so intense. But I feel like I have it more under control. So it's good to recognize. I think that's also really important, to be aware, right? To be aware of the emotions.
Absolutely. Recognize it, so being aware, recognize it, accept it. Accepting doesn't mean that we like it or we keep it. I mean, yeah, I feel that way. Yeah, accept it. And what you've done, Vincent, is like, okay, recognizing that it's not yours and helping you to go away, I would say cognitively. With EmRes, I will say, accept it, recognize it, accept it, feel the sensations in your body, be intimate in a way with how it feels inside, knowing that it's not yours, but it impacts you. So feel what's going on in your body. So whatever was resonating with you can resolve. So you don't have to control it anymore. A big thing about this work that we're doing at the Emotional Health Institute is to allow people to feel the emotions that are congruent with their current reality. Congruent to themselves. So it's so you don't have to control anymore.
I think that's also really important. Letting go and don't control it. I remember once I wanted to have control and control, like, oh, I don't want to feel like this. Oh, I want to this. I want to this. I made it worse. I was just stressing. I was getting anxiety, and it wasn't working. So yeah, it's really, really fascinating. So that's why I'm really excited for you having here. But Cedric, I want to go deeper into the emotions and how they are made. So can you explain more what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. What I can explain is how debilitating emotional patterns are created and how they're maintained. And this is not, so to speak, my work. Is mostly the work of Lisa Feldman Barrett out of the University of Boston. She put out a book, I believe, I think it was 2017, recapping her entire discovery, a study, research. And we understand today very clearly how the brain constructs emotion. There's few things we need to know in order to understand emotional difficulties. Number one is at the origin of any of our current emotional pattern. At the root is always the same type of event, is a trauma. Now, what is a trauma? A trauma is an instant that holds too much stress, physical or emotional, for us to take on at the instant when we experience it. That's it. It's too much stress, too much fear for us to take on, and at that instant, okay, that's considered as a trauma. Now, what creates the pattern is not the trauma per se. What creates the pattern are the instant of dissociation happening during the trauma. I'm going to explain in a little bit. So, for example, what you and I now are aware of is about 2,000 bits of information, cognitively, right? Processed at a speed of about 150 miles per hour. That's what we are aware of. 2,000 bits of information processed at 100 to 150 miles per hour. At the same time, our subconscious has a potential to gather 400 billion bits of information processed at a speed of 150,000 miles per hour. So our prefrontal cortex, our cognitive brain, does a lot of things for us, but one of the things that it does, it is filtering information so that you and I, we can have this conversation. For example, we can have a job, basically, that we can live in society. But during instant of dissociation, the cognitive brain, the cognitive mind, so to speak, shut down. It's a normal mechanism, right? There is too much stress, the cognitive shut down, so we don't suffer too much during this instant. However, when the prefrontal cortex shut down in a way, the subconscious takes over, and there is no more filter. So during this instant of dissociation happening during trauma, your brain is going to gather a whole lot of information, 400 billion bits of information per second, but in a non-linear way, in a non-logical way. Your brain is going to gather what you smell, what you see, the temperature, some shape, the overall situation, a lot of information in a non-logical way. During dissociation, your subconscious is also going to record what physical sensations you're feeling in this instant. So it's going to record what's going on around you and what's going on inside of you. This is happening during each instant of dissociation created by trauma. Okay, that's the first element that we need to understand. Second thing that we need to understand when it comes to emotion is that the brain constantly predicts. Our brain constantly predicts. That's what keeps us ahead of the game. And we can see that when we eat food, for example. If you eat an apple, before biting the apple, you're already predicting exactly the taste that it will have. It might be adjusted by the experience a little bit, but you predict what taste this apple is going to have. It's normal. We predict constantly, and it is the same thing for emotion. So when the body, the brain, finds itself in a situation where it recognizes one or several elements that were present during a past trauma, your brain is going to predict instantly what physical sensations you're about to feel. based on what was felt during the specific trauma related to the current event. Now, when I say the brain is going to predict, it does it very much in the flesh. It's going to generate what you call interoception. Interoception are the physical sensations that we feel when we have an emotion. Interoception are the physical sensations that we feel and let us know that we feel an emotion. So you know that you feel an emotion because you feel physical sensations. An emotion, in a way, is a conceptualization of physical sensations. Those physical sensations is an interoceptive prediction from the brain. Does that make sense?
Yes and no.
Go ahead.
It's really a complicated topic, but I remember, thank you for explaining, by the way, Cedric, but what I really remembered also, you can trick the brain, because if you close your eyes and you pretend you're gonna bite a lemon, your mouth getting sour. So why is that? So why is it so easy to trick the mind and make it believe that you're eating a sour lemon and still feel like, ugh, it's really sour?
It's sensory memory. So it's also a prediction, right? If you put yourself in the situation imagining that you're about to bite a lemon, your brain is automatically predicting what you're about to feel, which is the sourness and the taste of lemon as well, more than the sourness, the taste of lemon. This very example that you gave is what we use in EmRes sessions. Because as you said, if you really put yourself in a situation that you're about to bite a lemon, your brain is going to generate the interoceptive prediction of how it feels to bite a lemon. So when a client comes to see us for an EmRes session, we are going to use a past memory to trick the brain to think that this memory or this situation is active in them currently. So their brain is going to generate those very sensations that they felt last week or 2 weeks ago. And those physical sensations, which is just a prediction, we are going to support the client to feel these sensations until the end. I can go later in that if you want to, but to feel the sensations until the end so that the brain recognizes that at the end of the prediction, the brain is anticipating to be hit by some kind of danger. But at the end of the prediction, during a session, nothing is happening. You're safe and sound. And at the end of the prediction, if the practitioner or the client didn't try to interfere with the sensations, to calm them down, to control them, at the end of the prediction, the brain realizes that what used to be a danger, nowadays it's not anymore. And the prediction will be updated. So just to be clear on that, I don't want to go too long, but we never, with EmRes, we never use a traumatic event. We always use the way that the client feels today in their life. So we're never going to use a traumatic memory. We only use the way that they experience life today. No matter if they know if it was a trauma or not, it's irrelevant to us. So we use today memory, for example, a social event or whatever it is, today memory to re-trigger this interoceptive prediction exactly as you describe it for the lemon. You can be very specific about the memory, a very specific instant within the memory. The brain is going to generate interoception, physical sensations, and we're going to let these sensations play out until the end without interfering with them in a safe place.
It's quite interesting because I listened to the audiobook, The Body Keeps the Score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that blew my mind once I listened to that, because I then figure out that trauma was stored in the body. Because for me, I had a lot of fear towards women, and it really went back to the trauma that I had at a young age. And it was so traumatic for me that I kept on holding on, even though I didn't feel it, but still the body remembered it. So every time I wanted to walk up to attractive lady I walk up to a lady that I was attracted to, I froze. I couldn't move and I couldn't do anything. I was really shaking, and I didn't understand why. I didn't understand why I was keep behaving like this, because I did a lot of work on myself, also my emotions and everything. But every time the body just froze, and it was just so frustrating because I wanted to, but the body was always in resistance. I've always felt resistance. And for me, I went the trauma work. So I went to see a psychologist and I did EMDR, and it was really tough. Like you mentioned, I went into the trauma and it was really difficult. But what I realized, for me, it was also necessary, because the trauma, it couldn't keep going. It was always in a loop. I always felt in the same situation. And I remember sitting in a chair and I did the EMDR, and he said, "What do you feel?" And I feel exactly the same way when I'm talking with a woman, when exactly the same feeling, the sensation. But there was no woman in the room. And I was just mind blown how powerful the body is and how it stores the trauma. So I have this question for you, Cedric. Why does the body store the trauma and doesn't want to resolve it? Is it really a coping mechanism? Is it really something to keep yourself safe, or what is it?
Well, in a way, it's so. The book says the body keeps the score. Yes, in a way, but in reality, I would say the brain keeps the score, and the body is a scorecard, right? It's like the brain realizes that you're in a situation is going to trigger the physical sensations. What you said here is very clear. You said the way that you felt during your EMDR session from the trauma, you realize it's exactly the same sensation that you have when you're around women at the time and you want to approach women. EMDR is great, but in our sense with EmRes, we don't want to go back to the trauma, because as you said, when you meet a woman today, it's not traumatic, but you have plenty of experiences, and that's enough to resolve it completely. For me, it's important to not put a client back in a trauma. I think it's useless and a bit cruel, but it's just a personal theory, I guess, philosophy. But why does the brain keep it? Well, the brain tries to save your life, right? Your brain, remember, like as I said, it doesn't make any sense. When there's a trauma, there's dissociation, and not only one dissociation. If I'm being sexually abused, let's say my abuse lasts 5 minutes or even 2 minutes, I guarantee you that during my abuse, I'm going to dissociate several times. And for each dissociation, that has a potential to create an impact in my life later. So when the brain finds itself in a situation, for example, here, if I take your example, if I may, with women, there is something about it. There's something about it, the situation, that immediately bring the brain to something that happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe, I have no idea. And the brain generates the physical sensation that you felt 40 years ago. It's amazing, right? It's like your body is like a time machine, right? You come in a situation, is like Back to the Future, like your body is opening a window, and your flesh is literally into what happened 30 years ago. It's amazing. And why does it keep on repeating? Because we always control it. We always, in either way, we try to calm down, breathing, we try to intellectualize it, or we try to soothe the situation. The brain doesn't want to keep it. The brain will only keep it until it can process the situation and notice that you're completely safe and sound, without any type of control. Because if you feel this fear around women and you control yourself, right? You try to convince yourself, you talk to yourself, you do some breathing, in a way your brain is going to say, wow, if you control it that much, it must be because there's a danger. So the pattern is going to repeat. Basically, your body is trying to keep you safe. Because it's not cognitive. Emotions do not make any sense.
That's really interesting. This is really fascinating, because I never knew it was really the control of the brain so if for me myself to explain, so you experience the trauma, the brain has a hard time to process it, but also when it's there, the actual fear, it really transmuted into the body. So it says like, okay, now you need to flee because it's danger. But I hasn't really processed it, because I remember, like you said, I did exactly the same way. I was talking to myself like, come on, I can do this, I've done it before. But every time I was there, I talked myself out, or I was so afraid, shaking under my legs, and I told myself, this is not okay. But I wasn't even fully aware of it, and it was so strange that the body just took control of my life. Every action, everything that I wanted to do was just shaking, and a lot of fear. So it was so crazy. Yeah.
It was a prediction. And when you try to talk yourself out of the fear, it's like trying to talk, I don't know, a Chinese to a French guy, right? The subconscious and the conscious don't talk the same language, right? And you can try to overrule what every fiber in you is screaming that there is a danger. And there's this little voice, cognitive Vincent, who said, no, everything is fine. But everything in you is vibrating to there is a problem, there is a danger, and trying to overcome that is not, we have to show the body, we have to show the brain that there is no danger. And for that is staying close to the danger in a safe way, and feel the sensations of that, let you know that there is fear, accept them, feel them, intensely feel them, and feel them change until they dissipate. An emotion doesn't last longer than 90 seconds, between 2 and 90 seconds. We keep on feeling an emotion for a long time because of the way we are ruminating, and we keep on triggering the same emotion. Or let's say you feel a certain way when you're about to approach women, and fear, but then you don't do it, so you feel guilt, and then you feel shame, and then you feel all this stuff. So from this one fear, humans build emotions upon emotions. So from this one fear, you're going to judge yourself, you're going to judge women, you're going to, whatever it is, for all of us, based on our history, our beliefs, our personality, we're going to create more fears based on one, I would say, radical root fear. And that's why then you feel in a funk for days sometimes, because emotions keep on piling up one after another.
That's really fascinating. So Cedric, what can I do for the guys that are listening to this episode to say, well, I want to overcome it. I want to see, if I see an attractive lady that I'm really attracted to, and I feel so much anxiety, I feel so much fear, but I really want to talk to her. What are the steps that they can take for them to get out of that funk and say like, okay, I need to calm down myself. It's just the emotions, but I want to say hi. So what are the steps that they can take to do it?
Okay, very well. So I'm going to tell you very pragmatically how to do it. Okay. Because what we're doing is a natural capacity. Is any of the mammals in the world are processing trauma. We don't really. And one of the reasons is because we learn to control our emotions very early on through family, education, religion, whatever it is. So what I'm going to share now is, I would say, the beginning, the base of emotional resolution. Now, because life is what it is, sometimes what I'm going to explain might not be applicable to certain situations, and that's why we have people doing sessions with others. But the first thing, so there is a fear. The first thing is to accept the fear. I mean, not judge it, or don't try to deny it, or don't try to hide it, right? You're feeling a fear, you're feeling an emotion, you're feeling anger, whatever it is. Okay, I feel it, accept it. The second thing that you're gonna do when you accept it, so it's in life, right? Maybe there's a woman that you're anticipating to talk to, she's far away, so it's safe. And so you feel the fear, okay, you accept it, okay, I feel that way, don't judge myself, I feel it. Next step is gonna be to close your eyes. So closing the eyes is important, not to shut down what's going on around you, but closing the eyes is going to show you if your body, not your cognitive, if your body feels safe. Let me explain. The first sign of fear in any mammal is that they stop blinking. At the Emotional Health Institute, we work with a veterinarian. Her name is Dr. Naila Sherino, and she does EmRes with horses, ponies, and cows. Because it's the same process. And the first sign of fear is we stop blinking. Mammals stop blinking. So when you feel your fear, it's going to be important for you to close your eyes, to realize that you can close your eyes and not worry about it. If you close your eyes, but all you want to do is open them to look around, it shows that your body is not safe and it's not going to work. Are you with me? It makes sense? So you feel, Go ahead. You feel the emotion.
I'm also just putting myself in the situation also.
Perfect. So if you're in a situation in a bar and you feel the anxiety, so maybe you want to like turn around, close your eyes so nobody sees you, close your eyes, for example, and you can close your eyes. You don't worry about other people. You don't worry about looking around. Okay, you know that your body is safe. So continue to the next step. And the next step is going to be, once you close your eyes, keep them closed, and mean your body is safe. And then you're going to have to pay attention to two sensations in your body, two physical sensations. So maybe your heart is pounding, legs are shaking, knot in your throat, heat on the face, back pain, tension in the jaw, whatever it is. It's important at this point that you feel two sensations at least in your body. Two sensations simultaneously, which is something we rarely do. Two physical sensations simultaneously. And here, when you feel two sensations simultaneously, you become, maybe for the first time, in touch with your emotion. Because usually when you're around women, for example, in this example, you are in an emotional reaction, right? You are trying to control yourself. You're trying to control what's going on around you. You are surfing the wave of reaction. But never do we, or rarely do we, stop and become intimate with our emotion. An emotion is purely sensorial. An emotion is purely sensations. The rest, our behavior, is just consequences. So when you close your eyes, you're going to pay attention to two sensations at once. And when you pay to two sensations at once, it's going to shut down your emotional reaction. Now you become intimate with this fear in your body, viscerally. Now, once you feel the two sensations, you're going to have to keep your attention on the two sensations. You're going to have to keep your attention to your body. Not easy, because most of the time people go back to the cognitive. The cognitive scream loud. So the mind is going to try to think again. Oh, why am I doing that? It's not that difficult. Oh, no. You got to keep your attention to your sensations. I often tell my clients, feeling is an active action. If you stop feeling actively, you're going to start thinking. If you start thinking, the resolution is not going to happen. So you got to feel those two sensations and keep your attention active in feeling what's going on in the flesh. You are going to notice that the sensations are going to change in your body. They're going to evolve. They're going to transform. And sometimes they're going to become even tenser. They're going to become more intense. It's going to be important at this point that you don't try to calm them down. You don't try to breathe. You don't stretch. You don't have a glass of water. It's important to feel the sensations, even if they intensify, until they dissipate. Those sensations will dissipate between 2 and 90 seconds, never more. If they don't dissipate, it's because either way you didn't feel safe and your attention was out there, or you try to control them by breathing, by talking to yourself, or something else. But purely an interoceptive imprint will never take longer than 90 seconds. So if you can be with those sensations, even if they increase, they're not going to hurt you. They're just sensations, they're like ghosts, right? The sensation that you felt at some point in your life. And yes, they're very much real in your body, but they're ghosts in a way because they belong to the past. They're not going to hurt you in any way. Be with the sensation, feel the sensations until the end without any type of control in a safe environment until they resolve. And then open your eyes and try to approach this woman again. You will never feel the same after this simple 90 seconds spent with yourself.
Interesting. Thank you so much for explaining. That's really, really powerful. But the thing that came to my mind was, what if you go into your head? So, for example, you do these steps and you go through it, and then you say like, well, I'm not sure, maybe she has a boyfriend, or what if she rejects me? Is it something also connected with emotion, or you don't feel safe?
So a couple of things. A very good question. My first answer will be, if you feel with intensity, thoughts are not going to come in. You're creating a seal with your attention. For example, we can do an exercise here now if you want to.
Okay.
If you put your two fingers on your head, for example, and you close your eyes and you start moving your two fingers in different directions. And now, all I'm going to invite you to do is to feel the two fingers at once moving. Feel them moving at once. Voila. And as you're doing that, what are you thinking about?
Nothing.
Exactly. Because you're feeling. You're intensely feeling. You're becoming the master of your inner world again. So feeling is an intense action. If you feel, it's an action, right? If you feel, it creates a seal, and your thought is not mind fucking with you. Now you're right. On this situation with women, it's not only one emotion probably. Then okay, there is a fear of approaching, but maybe there is some kind of like shame that might need to be resolved, or guilt, or whatever it is. So this one situation encompasses a lot of different emotions. So in a session, if you do a session with a practitioner, our job is you give us a situation, and we're going to try to tackle all the emotion that this situation creates for you. So after an hour, wow, a lot of emotion dropped. But if you want to do it on yourself, you're going to have to be very much self-aware. Okay, tack, you see this woman, you're anticipating to talk to her, it creates a fear, you resolve. Okay, and then, okay, you don't feel the anticipation, you stand up for your tool if you're in a bar, and you approach her. But when you're about to talk to her, you realize you have fear again. It's not the same fear. The first one was anticipatory anxiety. The next one is when you're about to communicate with her, it creates an emotion again. Well, it's going to be more difficult to do on yourself, right? Because if you establish eye contact and you're about to talk to her, how do you do it? So that's when it's useful to do it with a practitioner. But if you want to do it as an experience, when you feel the fear, okay, that's it. Well, close your eyes and you can do it. But it's important that your body feels safe. And of course, in life situation, it's not always easy. So anyway, that was just to explain that this quote unquote simple situation of like, I'm not comfortable approaching attractive woman, is not one emotion. It's several emotions. And it's the same for many things in life.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Cedric, because this will give me also some clarity as well. When you did the exercise with me, that was really cool. It was really, I wasn't thinking about anything. That's really awesome. So yeah, Cedric, thank you so much for sharing. I love everything that you explained to me so far. So it's really cool. But we're gonna go into a commercial for 2 minutes. It's about gold and silver, and yeah, it can benefit you. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Increasing expenses have caused us all a lot of pressure these days, and it's affecting even the wealthiest of people. Most have lost their sense of security, stability, and even hope for a strong financial future. The game plan of everyone in your cell phone has likely been disrupted or even hardcore stopped, and most are looking for a creative solution to regain financial momentum. Oftentimes, life's best solutions are the simplest. But first, a question. What is something most people think they should own but don't? Crypto, fine art, real estate? Nope. We are talking about real money. The kind kings and queens fought for and large institutions today buy in mass. We're talking about gold and silver, assets that provide confidence in tough financial situations. So the question is, do you own any? If you don't, you're not alone. Most people aren't maximizing the power of precious metals because it's just been too complicated. And even though they see advertisements about gold and silver daily, they don't really know who to trust. That is, until now. The bottom line is that buying gold and silver doesn't have to be complicated or scary. There's a simple, better way to accumulate assets and create financial peace, headache-free. And this very minute, a new community of average people are seeing above-average results to the tune of tens of millions in assets over the last few years. This system is tested, it's simple, and it's not an experiment. To date, it's helped more than 80,000 people bring hope back into their lives. It's invitation only, And right now, this new community has accepted a challenge to give away as much free gold this year as possible. Curious? Learn how to get your free gold today. Check out the next step to get the details.
And we're back. Welcome back. So Cedric, again, thank you so much for this amazing interview. Like I said, it's really fascinating about emotions in the mind and the body, how it works. But I want to jump a little bit about resilience, because I also listened to the audiobook about that as well, and it was really fascinating about how to learn to be resilient. So can you explain what resilience is?
Yeah, I mean, I can try. And again, that will not be my work. It will be the work of there's an amazing psychiatrist in France called Boris Cyrulnik. Boris Cyrulnik is now in his 90s, and he was he saved himself in a way with help from World War II. He was able to escape when he was 6 years old with the help of a nurse. A very difficult situation that would have led him to death. Anyway, Boris Cyrulnik dedicated his whole career into the process of resilience. And there is, I think nowadays, a big misunderstanding about resilience, which is we tell people, our friends, our family member, our children, that they should be resilient, right? They should be more resilient. We should be resilient in this situation. Come on, be resilient. Or something happened in a town, after, I don't know, an earthquake, and the town mayor said, but our town is resilient. But that's not what resilience is. Resilience is a process that happens naturally when we are surrounded by safety, nurturing, and love. Resilience is not something that comes from inside of us. Resilience is something that happens naturally inside of us when our environment is allowing it. The term resilience was first used in farming. We used to say a soil is resilient. The soil becomes resilient after, let's say, a fire, or after agriculture. The soil becomes resilient in the season of fallow, when we don't touch it. And everything starts to come back to life again, right? You have the worms working, and everything is growing again in earth. It happens by itself. It is the same thing for us as human beings. Resilience is not a trait of character. You or I, we cannot be resilient people. Resilience happens naturally when our environment nurtures resilience, when we are supported. There is plenty of studies showing on little kids, on babies. We think that, or young children, we think that people with tough childhood will be more resilient in the future. It's not true. What the studies are showing over and over again, it is that children that were supported and loved will have access to more resilience later in life.
True love.
True love. Tough childhood just create pained, traumatized kids, and later adult. So that's my take on resilience. People should not be resilient. When people say, but I'm resilient, no, they are resistant. They're controlling themselves. They're powering through the pain. But that's not resilience. Resilience is brought by our environment. Resilience is something that blooms inside of us, that heals us naturally. In a way, when we do an EmRes session, we are offering to our client a space for resilience, because we are present and attentive to them in a safe place. And in a way, it's love, right? When you offer attention to someone without wanting to do anything but just being there for them. It's a sort of love. There's no resilience without love. There's no resilience without safety.
That's really beautiful, because what came to me was the most powerful emotion is love, and we're really overlooking it, especially for men. When you talk about resilience, what came to me was, as men, we need to be tough, we need to be strong, we need to be resilient, we need to be handling everything what comes in our way. But I realized I cannot always take care of things. I cannot always be a strong man. I cannot always be there for somebody when they need me. I also have my problems. I also have my difficulties. I also cry as a man. And I feel like there's a lot of men show on the outside how resilient and tough they are, but deep down inside they just crack. They cannot keep up, or they cannot be as the person that they pretend to be. So they wear a mask. And I see it with so many guys that they're just crumbling under the pressure of being someone they pretend to be, something that they cannot be. So is that also something that you see also with your studies, the things that you do, that men are really struggling when being resilient or having a mask on?
Yeah, it's a crust, right? There's this French philosopher called Henri Bergson. He talked about the crust. We create a crust, which is what you see from Cedric now, what I see from Vincent now. And this crust is made out of our belief, our trauma, our desire of what it is that we want to show to the world. And this crust will become attached to it, right? If I decided because of life, and that's not a decision, but if because of life, I identify myself as a strong man, well then any crack in this crust, when I need to feel vulnerable, I'm gonna hide it, because I don't want to see it myself. You know, a lot of time, this men that you're describing, they're in denial often until the moment they can't be anymore, because what they feel inside doesn't fit with the crust they created to survive, right? A lot of the time we create this crust, this toughness, or whatever it is, to survive at some point. It was a defense mechanism. And it's very scary to question this defense mechanism. It's very scary to accept that sometimes there's a crack in the crust, and that we can resolve, and that actually we can feel an emotion and resolve an emotion and be okay. Instead, be who we think we are, who we want society to see. But I think it's changing. I think more and more men are becoming more aware of what they feel and accepting what they feel, and realizing that, you know, feeling your emotion, resolving your emotion, for me is the ultimate hero journey, right? You know, in the hero journey, it's like the knight fighting the dragons or the monster. So the monster here, or the dragon, is our emotion. And some of us, men a lot, fight them, and that's anger, right? Anger, aggressivity. Some people hide from the emotion. You know, they go behind a rock, or they avoid it. That's avoidance or escapism. That doesn't work either, because if you fight your emotions, they're always going to go back to you, right? With anger, if you hide from them, they're always going to find you. Yeah. Some people try to control their dragons. They chain them. They try to control them. That doesn't work either. At the end, the dragon is going to explode. The chain is always going to be there. Some people even try to seduce the dragon, and they're the guy who you know, everybody love. You know, such a nice guy. What it is it's the person is seducing, so to speak, their fear, and it's like Mr. Nice Guy. You know, everybody love him. Why? Because if people love me, they're not going to attack me. Again, it's subconscious. It's very subconscious. But all those fear-based behavior, aggressiveness, avoidance, escapism, control, seducing, all those 5 fear behaviors will never slay the dragon. The only way to slay the dragon is to face the dragon. And when the dragon opens their mouth, which is when you feel the emotion, it's about to hit you, right? The only way to slay it is to jump inside of the mouth. to feel the sensations as we described earlier. And from inside, from the core, from the flesh of the dragon, when you feel the sensations in your body, it's where you can slay the dragon. And the dragon will not come back. So it's not about controlling, it's not about fighting, it's not about hiding from it. All this being subconscious. It's about realizing when the dragon opens the mouth, feel it, get in the flesh, and let the sensations do the work. That's slaying the dragon. That's it. And it takes courage to do that.
Absolutely. Again, Cedric, thank you so much for explaining this metaphor. That's really, really cool because I've seen it with myself. I was always fighting. I was always battling myself, and I realized it became worse and worse, and I started to hate myself because I didn't understand what was going on with me, and I kept fighting myself. But then I realized I have to let go. I really have to let go of the anger, of the resentment, of who I present myself to the world. And it took a long time for me to accept, and also the emotions that I'm going through, that it's okay, it's there. And also sometimes it's good that it's there, but sometimes it's also you have to let them go. And I realized when I let go, life became so much easier and more rewarding. Once I start to let go, there was a lot of pressure off my shoulders, and I feel like a lot of men want to, how can I say in the right way, they want to take everything on, they want to fight everything, they want to solve everything, whereas men, we're problem solvers. But in the end, you need to take care of your own first. You cannot take everybody's emotions on or the problems. You have to take care of yourself. So I'm really glad that you explained this, and also for men that they feel more instead of just going to the mind, and also feel within the heart, feel what they feel, and just do what Cedric explained. So Cedric, again, thank you so much for explaining. So can you share a little bit of the things that you do with your clients and how you help them?
Yeah, with clients, it's I receive people from all boards, and they come from different reasons. It can be anxieties, it can be fear, it can be anger, it can be the feeling of not being enough. I work with men and women, of course, it doesn't matter. And what we do is we are going to look at what is the emotion they want to resolve, and from this one emotion they want to resolve, we are going through the session to unveil other emotions, maybe at the origin of what they want to resolve, or created by the emotion that they want to resolve. And we'll be resolving as many emotions in an hour as we can. And the way that I work is, after a session, we always do a check-in to see where the client is at. Emotional resolution is not something that you do for a lifetime with a practitioner. There's a problem, we're going to resolve it. So I will ask at the end of a session, how long do you want in order to notice the change in your life? And the client will say, well, I will know if that emotion changed in a week or in 2 weeks. So we meet again to make sure that everything is clear up. Maybe it needs more work, maybe it doesn't, but we need to see what life shows after a session. So it's pretty black and white in a sense. And that's what we do with clients. And then we're training therapists, coaches, HR professionals to do this work with their clients and their patients. That's for the Emotional Health Institute, and that's fascinating as well, because everybody can do this work. You don't need to be certified anything. Everybody can do this work. It's an understanding and applying a methodology. And then what we do at the Emotional Health Institute is also doing shows like yours and conferences and talk to create awareness, demystifying what emotions are. Because there is this big myth about emotions, and it's this either where they think that we don't want to touch, or it's not for men, or whatever it is. There's a big demystifying work to do around emotion, and for people to understand that they do not have to carry debilitating emotional pattern, painful emotions for years or lifelong. It is not natural. It is not normal. emotions can be resolved. No matter what trauma you lived in your life, the impact of this trauma doesn't have to be heavy on you. I often tell people, we cannot resolve trauma. We cannot resolve trauma because trauma happened. We lived it. But what we can definitely resolve are the wounds that this trauma created, the impact that this trauma created in your life.
That's powerful. And what I want to add is what I've seen with myself. I was just this diamond and it got really beaten up, like on all sides when I was young. But once I started to do the healing, I would just brush it off. I would just make it nice and clean and just make it like a diamond again. But it's maybe a bit smaller. You see a small crack, but still the diamond is there. And I feel like that's a good metaphor also for men, that you don't have to change yourself. You just have to resolve what you've been through, accept them, and also move forward. Because if you're stuck in the past and you don't resolve them, the trauma will play over and over again until you resolve them. And I always thought there was something wrong with me, that these things are happening because I did something wrong or karmatic or whatever it was. But in the end, I felt, okay, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens because I need to learn something, or this I have to go through for me to understand a few things, or in my past life, or whatever we're going through. But in the end, the diamond, you always need to make it smoother. And when I go older and I go to a new relationship and I get a dent, I just brush it off, make it nice, and I move forward. And I think that's really powerful also for men, that they don't have to fix themselves. They just, like you said, be aware and understand yourself, and that the emotions are there, but it doesn't have to be, you don't have to attach to them.
Correct.
So Cedric, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was about to say the emotion that we feel is like a crack in the crust, and this crack is filled with intensity. And at the core of the crust, what you call the diamond, Spinoza, the philosopher, would call it essence. It's our essence, and this stay intact all the time. It's just covered with layers of pain. So at the core of the crust, what you call the diamond is the essence, and it's always there.
Absolutely, 100%. Cedric, I have 2 more questions and then we're gonna wrap up the show. The thing that I want to ask you, because I work with men and I want to connect themselves more to the heart, and you do the work, what you do, what are the 3 to 5 tips that you can give for men to start healing themselves and really start to be more aware of their emotions? If you have 3, that's fine. I just give like 3 to 5, so the guest can choose what is fine for them.
First, accept the emotion, as we said. Accept it. Don't try to understand why this emotion is coming, where this emotion is coming from. And don't judge yourself for having this emotion. Even if it's an emotion that is considered as bad, right? For example, I want to scream at my son. Don't judge yourself. Recognize that you have this emotion and know that the origin at the root or behind this emotion is fear anyway. So number 1, accept the emotion. Number 2, don't shame yourself or judge yourself for it. Number 3, take the time to be intimate with the emotion. That means before acting or reacting, take the responsibility to feel how it feels in your body. Before impacting the world around you or negatively impacting you by, for example, drinking booze or smoking a pot or watching porn, before doing anything, at least stop and feel in your body how it feels. Take ownership. Become the master of your inner world again.
Yeah, I like to I'd like to add about the last part that you said about the porn and the porn addictions. It was for me a big struggle. And that's also trauma. It's a coping mechanism. And it took a long time for me to understand the trauma and what is coping for me. And it always left me empty. So that was it's what I come back to is more like this is a nice topic for us to go back in another episode, because this is really important. Also, why it's connected to the emotion. So I think that's a really nice pin. Maybe we can discover that in the future to have a more depth about trauma and addiction, I think, or the emotion and the trauma and addiction. So I think this is cool for next time if you're up for it.
Sure, absolutely. All I can say in the thing is like the porn in this case is not the problem. Porn was the medicine, right? You went to porn because you needed something, and porn was a bad medicine, but it was something. So porn or food, or it doesn't matter, right? We all have our stuff. It's just an attempt to feel better. An attempt to feel better.
Yeah, well, it was just for me an escape, just to escape from the pain and the fear of rejection. So I seek it with porn, but in the end it left me more empty. But in a way it was always safe. I don't know, I cannot explain it. I always went there because there's no judgment, there's no rejection, so it's always safe. But in the end I always missed the connection with women. I always wanted to enjoy the touch, enjoy the kiss, enjoy the sex, but there was always the fear of rejection. So it was always really, it was curious, that journey. And yeah, we can always go in deeper in that next time. Cedric, I want to thank you so much for this amazing interview. I've learned a lot from you, and I really enjoyed talking to you. It was so much fun and so exciting, and we cover some really cool topics, and you gave me so much value and more understanding. So I really want to thank you for that. Also for your time. And you also mentioned that you have a free gift for the listeners, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a free gift. People can get it. It's a PDF and a video where people will learn in detail, with more detail than I was able to explain today, how to do EmRes on themselves by themselves.
Before we go, can you share a little bit more what it means? Because I heard it, but I haven't asked you, what does it really mean? Is there like a name to it, or is it really the meaning of the therapy?
Oh, EmRes stands for emotional resolution, which is a name of the methodology that we created. So it's emotional resolution, and we short it in EmRes.
Oh, okay, I got it. Thank you for clarifying, because I was thinking and wasn't sure, but thank you for bringing that up. So yeah, again, thank you so much. It was really, really awesome. And how can the listeners follow you and work with you?
Yeah, the best is to go to our website, which is www.emres.com. And there you can have all the information about our work and the training that we're doing, practitioners who are certified, and you will have link to our Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms.
Awesome. Yeah, I will put everything in the show notes so people can check it out. They can reach out to you. And like I said, Cedric, I was really looking forward to this call. I'm really happy that you took the time to be here. And hopefully we can, well, I know we're going to do another one. I feel like I feel good to talk to you, and I can still learn from you. And this is a topic that's also really fascinating. So yeah, that was really, really awesome. So is there anything you want to say before we go? Something you want to add or mention?
Thank you, first of all, to give me the opportunity to share this work with your audience. And no, I mean, there's always more to say, right? But I will repeat what I said earlier, which is like, whatever it is that you're struggling with, it's not a lifelong sentence. You can actually resolve it. It is actually possible for you to resolve it. And even if it seems impossible, give it a try. You have nothing to lose. Give it a try, and see that you're not defined by your trauma. You're not even defined by your history.
Yeah, and what I want to add is, don't wait too long to do it, because I took years and years and years just to say like, no, I will do it another time, or no, not now. And I wasted, it's not a waste, but I felt like I wasted many, many years when I could do it sooner. And I know it takes courage. It takes a really difficult step to get help and do something about it. But I will promise you, once you're gonna take these steps and start healing yourself and work with the emotions, the mindset, and what's happening in your body, your life will get so much better. I'm way past of now in my life than I was 3-4 years ago. Still, I had to work, but I realized I wish I'd done it sooner. I wish I get help sooner, and my ego was also in the way. So guys, please, when you feel something is off and you feel you need to get help, your gut feeling will tell you, your heart will tell you, I need to get help. Please get help, because it will change your life forever. And in the beginning, it will be hard and difficult, but once you take those small steps, and also what Cedric explained, you need to go deeper in the shadow side of the trauma. You need to understand yourself better and what's happening. But once you do that and you resolve it, life will get a lot fun and better, right, Cedric?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have access to more joy, right? More joy.
And that's what we want to create, right? More joy in life, and enjoy your life, because life is short and you never know when it's the last time you breathe.
Very true.
So Cedric, again, thank you so much for this amazing interview. I really enjoyed the interview with you, the time with you. Again, I've learned so much from you, and it was absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. And
my pleasure.
Awesome.
Be well.
So
and
guys,
see you soon.
Go ahead.
No, I say be well, and I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching for this amazing episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow me on all the social medias. I will explain more about my journey and the things that I do. So I appreciate the support. So guys, thank you so much, and take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hey Lions, thank you for listening. Glad to have you on our journey to the authentic self. Want to learn more to embrace your potential? I invite you to keep listening. Do me a favor and smash the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps the show reach more listeners who need to hear these messages. See you next time.